This video is going to be some examples of subtraction of whole numbers and decimals using the partial differences strategy. This is the strategy. It's different from the trade first because we're working from left to right and we subtract each place value. So the first problem that we're going to start with is 7,430 subtract 3,583. Again, with place value. Starting in the thousands place, 7,000 minus 3,000 is 4,000. Going to the hundreds place, 400 minus 500. Now, in this one, it doesn't matter if the top number is bigger than the bottom number. We still subtract, but we end up with a negative number. So if we have 400s minus 500s, that gives us negative 100. Then the tens, 3 tens or 30 minus 8 tens or 80 is negative 5 tens or negative 50. Then we go up to the ones place. 0 ones minus 3 ones is negative 3. Once we've went through each place value, we go and we find the total value. So 4,000 minus 100 is 3,090. Minus 50 is 3,000. Let me do that again. 4,000 minus 100 is 3,900. Then 3,900 minus 50 is 3,850. 3,850 minus 3 is 3,847. Now this is the everyday math expects fifth graders to be able to do the trade first strategy. That is expected. Doing partial differences helps with number sense, number recognition. So here's our next example. $945 minus 277. Going by place values, 900 minus 200 is 700. 4 tens or 40 minus 7 tens or 70 is negative 30. And the ones, 5 ones minus 7 ones is negative 2. So going back through, 700 minus 30 is 670. 670 minus 2 is 668. And we will do one more whole number before we go to the decimals. $8,634 subtract 5,529. starting in the thousands place, and you always start the furthest place to the left. 8,000 minus 5,000 is 3,000. Hundreds place, 600s minus 500s is 100, but it's a positive 100. It's bigger than 0, so it's positive. Then, tens place, 300, or 3 tens minus 2 tens is 1 10, or 10. And again, it's a positive 10. It's not a negative number, it's a positive number. And the ones place, 4 ones minus 9 ones is negative 5. So, starting at the top number, 3,000 plus 100 is 3,100, plus 10 is 3,110, minus 5 is 3,105. Now to some problems with decimals. Five and 48 hundredths minus 2 and 7 thousandths, or 7 hundredths, excuse me. Again, when you're adding or subtracting decimal points, your decimal points need to be lined up vertically. 5 minus 2, 5 wholes minus 2 wholes is 3. 4 tenths minus 0 tenths is 4 tenths. But again, it's a positive 4 tenths. And you can write it as 4 tenths or 40 hundredths. I like to do 40 hundredths when I'm doing problems like this, just a little bit easier for me to keep track of. And in the ones place, in the hundredths place, 8 hundredths minus 7 hundredths is 1 hundredth. A positive 1 hundredth. It's not negative, it's positive. So 5 and 48 hundredths minus 2 and 7 hundredths is 3, plus 4 tenths or 40 hundredths is 3 and 40 hundredths, plus 1 hundredth is 3 and 41 hundredths. And our last problem will be 6 and 5 tenths minus 4 and 78 hundredths. If you watch the other video, we already talked about this, but when you're subtracting and there's no digit above another digit, you can't just put an 8 down. It's the same thing as having 0 there. So, if you can keep it straight in your mind, you don't have to put a 0 there. I like to have a 0 there. It just helps me keep everything straight. So, starting in the furthest place to the left, the greatest place value, 6 ones minus 4 ones is 2. Then to the the tenths place, 5 tenths minus 7 tenths is negative 2/10. And I like to put my other 0 in. 2/10, 20 hundredths, it's the same amount. And then we go to the hundredths place. 0 hundredths minus 8 hundredths is negative 8 hundredths. So as I go to find the total value, starting with my top number of 2, minus 2/10 is 1 and 8/10, or 1 and 80 hundredths, minus 8 hundredths is 1 and 72 hundredths. 1 and 72 hundredths. Now, as you're subtracting these with the decimal point, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to remember. So when you're going with these numbers, you can ignore the decimal point to start off with and just think 200 minus 20 is 180, minus 8 is 172. See, the digits end up still being the same. You just have to remember to go back and put in your decimal point. So there's some examples of how to do partial differences. Have a good rest of your homework time.